Thank you for being here to step forward for equality. In February, we learned that women's heart health is directly connected to our state of mind. To see our latest presentation on heart health, visit us on YouTube. In a short while, you will hear more about Lisa Blair. In her own words, she says that taking action for the planet reduces eco-anxiety, the feeling of being overwhelmed. Have you experienced any anxiety lately? Well, when we act, we move from fear to empowerment, which benefits both our minds and our hearts. In this presentation, we'll address what is climate change? How does it affect women and girls? We'll look at Zonta and climate change. And then we'll look at what some people did. What did Lisa do? What did the Zonta Club of Syracuse do? And lastly, what can we do? Zonta advocates for gender equal climate action in their program called Zonta Says NOW to Gender Equal Climate Action. This is Zonta International's global initiative to achieve gender equal climate justice. Through this program, Zonta members advocate for a woman's full and equal participation in the economy and support their inclusion as decision makers on environmental sustainability at national and local levels. So why do we need Zonta Says Now anyhow? Check out this short video to learn why we are here today. So yes, Zonta seeks climate justice. They've issued an extensive statement on climate change that can be found on our website, zonta.org. The last page of this statement gives advice to Zonta membership. And the first one is why we are here today. Increase their awareness of climate change, its gender-related consequences, and raise awareness locally. There are other suggestions as well, which we will do on future days, including advocacy actions that will ensure women's economic opportunities and their participation in the economy is equal to men's. Climate change is happening, and we need to change too. The next 3 images will give you an idea of how climate change is affecting people around the world. Millions of people have already lost their homes and livelihoods due to extreme weather events caused by climate change, and most of them are women. During climate-related disasters, women are more likely to be injured or killed, lose their job, or be forced into slavery or prostitution to survive. Systemic gender inequality has led women and girls to having fewer choices. For example, girls and women hold an unequal responsibility for securing food, water, energy, and other vital resources, as well as caring for the young and elderly. Therefore, they face more barriers than men to leaving areas that are prone to climate change and natural disasters. 2 slides ago, we saw somebody going through the arid areas of Kenya with water jugs just to get some water during a drought. Well, when it rains, it pours. This photo is Madagascar after torrential rains. The rainfall is so heavy it actually swept somebody away and they lost their life. This one happened in March of 2025. The waters get so high there that the streets are closed and people can't even go to work or school. Plastic is a material that never really goes away. It affects our climate in 3 ways. 1, it starts with baking fossil fuels. Making plastic is like a giant cake, but instead of flour and sugar, it uses oil and gas to be made. To turn that oil into a plastic bottle, you need a massive factory that runs on a lot of energy. This releases greenhouse gases. That's the invisible blanket that traps heat around the earth and makes it warmer. When you try to get rid of plastic by burning it, that releases additional gases in the air as well. And if you stick it in a landfill, eventually it burps out gases that add to the greenhouse effect. The ocean's like a giant vacuum cleaner sucking up all the carbon that makes the world too hot. And sea creatures who help do this are called plankton. When the ocean is full of tiny bits of plastic, microplastics, the little creatures accidentally eat them. And that makes them sick or tired, so they can't do their job of cleaning the air around us. Every time a new piece of plastic is made, the earth gets a little bit warmer. By using less plastic, we help the earth breathe better and keep it cool.
What is the greenhouse effect? Earth is a comfortable place for living things. It's just the right temperature for plants and animals, including humans, to thrive. Why is Earth so special? Well, one reason is the greenhouse effect. A greenhouse is a building with glass walls and a glass roof. The clear glass allows sunlight to shine into the greenhouse while also trapping the sun's heat inside. This is how a greenhouse keeps plants warm even at night and in the winter. The greenhouse effect keeps Earth warm in pretty much the same way. Earth isn't surrounded by glass, but it is surrounded by a jacket of gases called the atmosphere. In the daytime, the sun shines through the atmosphere, warming Earth's surface. After the sun goes down, Earth's surface cools. This releases heat back into the air, but some of that heat is trapped by the gases in the atmosphere. These heat-trapping gases are called greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide, water vapor, and methane are all examples of greenhouse gases. Earth needs a balance of greenhouse gases to maintain just the right temperature for living things. But some human activities are changing Earth's natural greenhouse effect. For example, burning fossil fuels like coal and oil releases more carbon dioxide into our atmosphere. These extra greenhouse gases can cause the atmosphere to trap more and more heat, leading to a warmer Earth. NASA satellites are constantly measuring the gases in our atmosphere from space. They've observed increases in the amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. The information from NASA satellites can help scientists figure out where greenhouse gases are coming from and how they are ending up in our atmosphere. This information will help us better understand the impact that greenhouse gases have on our climate and help us better understand this very special greenhouse that we call home. Find out more about our Earth at NASA Climate Kids.
If you drop a plastic bottle in the ocean, currents can carry it for miles until it vanishes into a massive swirling zone of trash. You see, in the 1980s, scientists started finding tiny plastic pieces floating in the ocean. And they predicted that the plastic would get trapped in this spot where ocean currents met. 10 years later, a sailor passed through that area and was surrounded by miles of trash. By 2015, scientists launched a massive expedition to measure it. They found over 1 trillion pieces, more than twice the size of Texas, and it's still growing every day.
When a plastic bottle breaks down, it does it slowly and it goes into different sizes. First, macroplastics, then microplastics, and finally, nanoplastics. And each of those is listed here with the average size that those particles are. So what's a UM? If you're a scientist or if you speak Greek, you might recognize this term, muum, more frequently called micrometer or micron. It's a unit of measurement. So the fish eat the plastic, we eat the fish, and nanoplastics are airborne. They're actually finding microplastics accumulating in our physical organs. You'll see here on the slide the years that they discovered microplastics in people's body parts, causing thyroid issues, infertility, and metabolic disorders. If the bottle is in the ocean breaking down, guess who's going to eat it? If you said the fish, you're right. Here are several ways to protect yourself from plastic, and there are too many to go through right now. So why don't you take your phone out and take a screenshot of this? There is a massive accumulation of plastic known as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, located between California, beautiful California, and beautiful Hawaii, where circulating currents trap marine debris. It is not a solid island or a floating landfill. It is more accurately described as a high concentration soup of microplastics and fishing gear. It is approximately, are you ready for this? 618,000 square miles. Lying between California and Hawaii, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is 3 times the size of France, and it is the world's biggest ocean waste repository. Meet Australian Lisa Blair. She's the first woman to sail solo around Antarctica with one stop, and she holds 8 world records in sailing. She's a climate activist, a motivational speaker, and the author of a book called Facing Fear, which she published in 2021. Lisa was a speaker at the Zonta International Convention in Brisbane, Australia in the year 2024, and here's a picture of her. signing her autobiography. 37-year-old Lisa Blair completed an epic voyage around Antarctica, breaking a world record and collecting valuable scientific data along the way. Here is a broadcast from May 28, 2022.
It takes a special sort of person to tackle a solo sailing adventure, and Lisa Blair is certainly that. She's just completed an epic voyage around Antarctica, breaking a world record after battling blizzards, snowstorms, and waves the size of a 5-story building.
Hi everybody, how you going?
No matter what the weather or conditions, this solo sailor has a sunny disposition and a fierce determination to overcome everything Mother Nature throws at him.
28 at sea. So we've had some pretty big 7 to 8 metre seas around kind of all day. If you see this footage here, you can actually see the whole bow of the boat just getting absolutely shoved sideways by the force of that wave. You can tell that that was quite a big impact on the boat.
Lisa Blair set sail from Albany on February 21st.
You might not be able to see it, but there's a little itty bitty smudge on the horizon. And that is officially the last of Australia. And I'm already losing sight of land. Won't see it probably again until Cape Horn, if anywhere, just about 6 hours.
She headed east, sailing south of Tasmania and then New Zealand, crossing the Southern Ocean to Antarctica, and around it, passing the southern tip of South America and South Africa on the way, non-stop and all alone. More than 30,000 kilometres, and 92 days later, she was back in Albany.
There was thousands of people on the foreshore, so it was so extremely exciting. It's been an incredible welcome.
The 37-year-old is a seasoned solo sailor. She holds 4 world records and has competed in 3 Sydney to Hobarts. This is her second attempt to sail around Antarctica. The first was in 2017 and was cut short after 72 days when her mast snapped in a storm off the tip of South Africa.
Cabin's been demolished because I've just been ripping stuff apart. I'm so close to home. Terrifying experience to actually go through and live and breathe. And so this journey and reaching dry land after not just doing it once, but sailing around Antarctica twice, nearly dying, and then finally being as successful as, it's so overwhelming.
And she's not just doing it for the records.
It's this community awareness drive where I collect Post-it note messages from people in the public, and each Post-it note is an environmental action on something that they're already doing towards a better future. So Joe turns the lights off when he leaves the room, or Sally has short showers, or Bob picks up rubbish off the beach. And I've collected all of those messages, and then if you see behind me, the whole hull of the boat is wrapped in thousands and thousands of the community messages.
On this voyage, she collected vital data for the Bureau of Meteorology.
They do sea surface temperature and barometric pressure, and that allows us to get a better reading on our weather forecasts.
And for the Australian Institute of Marine Science.
It's the microplastic sampler. It's giving me an indication of ocean health in the regions, giving us an understanding of how the Southern Ocean is getting impacted by the stresses of population and human impact, and how it's also processing carbon and oxygen saturation levels. I'm in an area where none of this data has existed before, so hopefully going to be very beneficial to the scientific community.
Back on dry land, Lisa is still on her sea legs and reflecting on another successful adventure.
Yeah, everyone's going, what's next? What's next? I think people are learning that there's a bit of a list developing, and there's always something next in my world.
What an amazing woman. You can find out more about Lisa and her adventures on our website.
Some of the notes that she had laminated on the hull of her ship.
she named her boat Climate Action Now. That's the name of her ship. And she put all these post-it notes around it so that when the people covered her amazing journey, they had to cover this climate issue. She saw that soup and she wanted to change it. Great news.
Zonta International selects honorary members who have significantly improved conditions for women or changed societal attitudes. Lisa was chosen because she succeeded in a male-dominated sport, proving that women can conquer the world's most dangerous environments. Also, she aligns with Zonta's Zonta Says NOW initiative, which focuses on how climate change is a gender equality issue. She certainly is an inspiration, and her boat, named Climate Action Now, functions as a scientific research vessel to further collect data on microplastics and ocean health.
So we talked about what is climate change. We've talked about how does it affect women and girls adversely. Basically, the short version is whatever's bad gets worse with that kind of pressure. So the temperatures go up, domestic violence goes up. Crops die because of lack of water or too much water. Well, the livelihood goes away. People can't eat. So guess what? Child marriage goes up. It's very much related. And now we've talked about what Lisa has done. I'll be sending each of you the trailer to her movie because they made her book into a movie too. It's really exciting. But right now, I'd like to talk about what did Zonta Club of Syracuse do?
Hi, I'm Eileen Gilligan.
And I'm Eileen Gilligan from the Zonta Club of Syracuse. We are hoping to collect 1,000 pounds of film plastic in 1 year for recycling.
We joined the next Trex Recycling Challenge, and if we meet our goal, we will win a free bench made from recycled materials.
4 pounds. Every week, I weigh the bags our members collect and take a picture to document our progress.
This is awesome that you guys do that. Next Trex gave us a list of locations they work with to drop off our large collection, but anyone can drop off film plastic for recycling.
Next time you're at a big box store or a supermarket, look for their collection point. Drop the small amount you have at home in the bin and go. Next Trex sorts and grinds down the material, mixes it with sawdust, and adds heat until the mixture is soft enough to form into boards used for decking or outdoor furniture. Never put film plastic in your home recycling bin. The plastic wraps around the machines that sort the recyclables, it gets dirty and ends up as trash.
Cut out the labels and clean and dry the film plastic before you drop it off at a collection point.
Not all film plastic is recyclable. Learn the difference at okra.org.
I would like to introduce to you live and in person Dr. Eileen Gilligan. She's come a long way to be here with you today. She's a geologist who has worked on numerous contamination projects for industry and government clients. She has taught geology and engineering students at Syracuse University and Columbia College. And more recently, she has served on the board of directors of OCRA, that's the Onondaga County Water Authority. I'm saying that wrong. How do you say it?
That's Aqua.
Aqua is the water authority, and OCRA, the Resource Recovery Agency. She's done them both. She's an active volunteer with the Nature Conservancy and is the District 2 UN Committee chairperson. And you see she's wearing a yellow rose because there's a little sign that she is a Zonta member. So
here to tell us all about the project is Dr. Eileen Gilligan.
I'm happy to be here. As you heard, I've taught at Columbia College and at Syracuse University a lot. I teach geology students and civil engineering students. So I'm going to talk in a style for our future college student here. I'll get an experience what it's like to have a lecture at a college level. But in truth, I noticed a while ago, I seem to address everyone with the same style. Because sometimes, I have to talk with business people or the mayor's office or something like that, or students or my children, or grandchildren now. So, I basically use the same style, which is make sure that people understand what I'm saying. That's the key part. So, can we go to the next slide?
yes.
This is film plastic, and so everything I'm going to say about what we did with Okra is regarding film plastic. And this is just from less than a month ago, driving, and so I did get the red light, so I could take a picture. So yeah, that's what film plastic is, and it's, as you heard, a global problem, as well as an issue with Okra. So let's go to the next slide. Oh, there we go. So, since I was on the board with Okra, I served a 3-year term there. I had asked, and I've done this in the past, where I will ask a company or an agency, is there something you would like a group of ladies to work on for you, a project? So I think our first one was Zonta, was Okra was thinking of expanding the returnable bottle bill, at least in their practice, so that it would accept wine bottles, very heavy glass type juice bottles, and I think we can still do juice bottles, but anyway, we had a certain program, and the ladies were keeping track of how many wine bottles I emptied over the summer, kind of thing. So it worked out well, and we apparently overwhelmed some of the collection centers. We really got some good numbers there. But in this case, the recycling department at Okra was aware that there is a project with Trex company out of Virginia. They make plastic decking, and the fundamental thing is Trex company sometimes uses virgin plastic and sometimes uses recycled material plastic. That virgin plastic or recycled has to be a type of plastic called polyethylene. And so a store such as Wegmans or Home Depot or any place that unpacks their pallets, they can ship the film plastic, polyethylene, down to the company store, and the Trex company will buy that plastic from the store. So they buy back polyethylene from Wegmans or whatever. So the more that Wegmans takes in, the more they're going to end up selling to Trex. And that's how it works. If we give our material to, say, Wegmans, which is the one I used, if we give it to Wegmans, Wegmans will ship it down and they will sell it and keep the money, for themselves. They'll sell it to Trex. But as a reward to us and to this community outreach program that they have, they will award us, once we've done 1,000 pounds, with half a ton film plastic, they will give us a bunch. They have expanded, that was maybe, that we ended our effort there maybe a year and a half ago. They have expanded now, you don't have to get half the ton, and a quarter of a ton will get you a smaller item kind of thing. It's all laid out on their website. So let's
How much do you have to do to get a deck?
I know.
How much plastic do you have to collect to get a deck?
I don't think the biggest thing is a half a ton. Yeah, I don't think there was any other deck. And we gave let's go through the slides here. Yeah, can you see the next one? Right. So club members collect the clean polyethylene film plastic. It has to be clean because when it's going into their factory, they don't want it, rotted food or anything. And the club has to arrange for it to give it to someone who will ship it. So, for example, you can't collect it and drop it off at the library and say, please, they're just not doing it. There's a long list of companies that do this shipping and selling back to Trex. So then a company such as Trex receives the film plastic and repurposes it into decking or furniture. So that's how it works. Go ahead. And so the question then became, what kind of material will they take? And you'd think it's really clear, but every time somebody handed in some plastic, I was always having to go through it and toss out maybe half of it because it wasn't the right stuff. So I'll just pass around these things in case you want hands-on information here. Polyethylene is a material that a see-through bag, a Ziploc bag is made out of. That's from Wegmans. This is pallet wrapping from cat food cans. My dad's it's really expensive. These should all expensive cat food anyway. That's polyethylene. And so and these things are all polyethylene. So we have some grocery bags, bread bags, bubble wrap. A lot of people once they're flattened up with bubbles, you can have the bubble wrap.
You have to flatten them.
Dry cleaning bags, those are good. In fact, I collected all kinds of these things here. So let's go to the
I
next.
saw the Amazon bag and the Amazon, the
Yes.
bubble bags. They
Yes.
it was in the
Hold on.
film. The
Plastic shipping envelopes, that's in that one.
Yeah. Wow. Just that's I'm pulling it out of my garbage when I go home. But you can't put it in the, but you can't put it in the blue bin, right?
No.
No, because
Okay.
it'll go there and it'll tangle the place up. Yeah. So this is the Oprah boardroom, in case you wanted to see what it was like. So here we have some collected material. I did not buy big bags to stuff the stuff in. When I was getting the material, one of the people that were tossing the stuff out, they collect. This is their thing. So okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that's what it was like. Okay. People collect it, like board members collect it, or club members collect it. And I get it from them. We did the most collection over the summer. And I would say to the ladies, this is actually what we did. I'm going to be in the parking lot of the Manlius Public Library at 9:30 on Tuesday. Whoever's got anything, bring it there. And another day I'd have another location. So a lot of what the club members collected, that's how I got it from them. So that's just what I did there. And continue on. Now, sources of donated plastic. The members collected it from their houses. A lot of times there were like pill bottles and things that were just not polyethylene. But anyway, members collected it from their houses, their offices, friends and neighbors. The restaurant where we meet monthly, which is the Retreat in Liverpool, they were collecting polyethylene for us. Then I was worried we weren't going to get a half a ton. So I thought, okay, I've got to be proactive here and go knock on some business doors.
Amazon.
So I went to, you do what you gotta do. So I went to Shoot Water System, which is like across Route 20 where I live in Lafayette. So I know they have pallets of salt bags stacked up outside. And I'm a customer of them. So I said, I also learned a thing, dealing with these people and others who said no to me. If you deal with the woman, the secretary, whoever runs that, it would be a yes. Of course we'll do it. If you deal with a man, the secretary there, who's the daughter of the owner, she was collecting things for me. And she told her crews when they go out and service stuff, save the plastic bags. Okay. And I guess they did. Chico's, we have a member who works at Chico's. So she was saving lots and lots of, they look like dry cleaner bags, the clothes come in the bags. Talbot's, same thing. PetSmart, that was definitely our biggest contributor. For that one, they get deliveries twice a week at 8 a.m. Actually, they're in there earlier than that, but at 8 a.m. And so I would go there twice a week, 8 a.m. And they unwrap their cans and they put the cat food or dog food on the shelves and they drop their plastic right on the floor. And then their process is they would normally go and pick it all up and throw it out. I said, I'll pick it all up. So I picked it all up, collected it, and I got probably 500, about at least half of it from PetSmart. Wow. It's dry cleaner, and they saved stuff for me too. So it was good. So you collect it, you weigh it. Here's my trusty scale.
Oh, she brought it with her.
Yeah, it's a fishing scale, kind of thing.
Ah,
Cool.
Okay, keep going. Then, well, for example, June 6th, 2024, that's how much all my big bags in the back of my car weighed. I took the picture, that's required. You take the picture, you submit it online to Trex, And that was how many pounds on that day, but I'm keeping track here. See, up to 224 pounds. So it's
Wow.
then I wheel it over, and in my case, I used Wegmans. So this whole deal, let's see, Talbot's and PetSmart are right next to each other at Fairmont Fair, and Wegmans is just across the parking lot. So that's me loading it into their cart, and I would take it in. Before I started using Wegmans, I went and asked them about it, and I had called their Rochester headquarters. They have an environmental guy. He was all in favor of it. Wegmans is going to make money on it anyway. Not a lot, but they'd make money on it. And so that's how I did it. Almost all of it went to that Wegmans. But from now on, don't take it to Wegmans. At least don't take it to Wegmans and Fairmont because they don't want to have to deal with it. There are plenty of other places that would do it though. I just chose that because it's convenient. So that's the goal. You collect 1,000 pounds and we awarded a bench. Okay, and it's so. Oh, I did want to tell you from a college point of view. Do you know what polyethylene is yet? Did you take or you haven't taken organic chemistry yet, right? Okay. So an ethylene molecule is essentially two carbons tucked together, and then there's available bonding locations, so hydrogen just sits there. Polyethylene means there's in a textbook, ethylene will be drawn like a rectangle. This is my metal chain, but that's a whole bunch of rectangles, right? And so polyethylene, it's a polymer of ethylene. It's rectangles attached together, right? So it's just like this. It can be mashed tight into high density polyethylene, or it can be looser in arrangement as a low density polyethylene. Polyethylene is stretchy, unlike a pill bottle, which is not stretchylene. That's not polyethylene, but it can stretch, you can pull it out, and they do this sort of thing when they're producing the material. So this is what polyethylene looks like. Another contaminant they'll say something about in the middle. Okay, I consider these contaminants polyester. So although this polyethylene is carbon and a little hydrogen, that's it. Polyester, nearly the same thing, only some oxygen something there. And because of that, it becomes a little more dense, a little heavier. Polyester, therefore, will sink in water if it's not disturbed. Polyethylene will float. In fact, it stays in the air a lot longer. Polyester can go in there, but it will size. Okay, so there's a chemical reason why it behaves the way it does.
Well, we have two gifts for you, Dr. Eileen. Bag of plastics. And let's play the game. Recycle, yes or no?
Stand right there. I have a pop quiz. Now, before you get all excited about this being a bag from Guinness Storehouse in Ireland, yes, honey, it doesn't have beer. I'm going to show some stuff and let's see if everyone can tell. And you read them. What is this? Is this yes?
Oh, this is a collection.
Is this a recycle? Yes or no, team?
This is bubble wrap.
Yeah, you have to pop them. I didn't know that. How about this one?
Well, you don't have to pop every one of them, but most people do.
Yes or no?
This can be handed in the Trex.
I know.
None of these can go to Okra, even if you have. Yeah. Thicker. Yep. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
We're talking about
Hands are bad. My garbage
can go.
Veggies?
Yeah.
I'll go there.
Hear that crinkle? Oh. That crinkle means it has something else in it. So, because this is not, well, that sounds like it. But if you crinkle up the platform, does it feel a little different too? Like it feels a lot. Yeah. It's not, but it's not stretchy. Yeah, it really is. It's a little bit brittle.
So that's a no?
That's a no.
This bean thing, it kind of
The bean one is okay.
All right. I got celery.
Celery's okay. Yeah, these are all polyethylene. Yep.
And how about this gift wrapping stuff? Crinkle, no go.
Give me the crinkle one just so I can try it. This is not stretchy. Yeah. And this one next is a gift for you. Thank you so much for coming. And we put in there also our socials so you can follow us if you'd like. And I meant to put this out on the tables too, so in case you're not following us on the socials, you can do that.
At Oak Rock, some of you might have noticed where Lake Creek Recycling Center was or whatever. But you know that's undergoing a lot of, it's not open right now. The talk in that planning of what should be there talks about an eco drop. Some cities have eco drops where you could take whatever you have, aluminum, plastics, wooden plastics, whatever, an eco drop. There will be some sort of eco drop there. I was lobbying for a shredder. This kind of stuff, it can be compacted down and shipped very efficiently if it's compacted down, more so than I can do in a bag back in the car. So there might be a shredder there or a compactor for the film plastic. I'm not positive. Right now, it's kind of like a future thing because if you have it down, you've got to get it to somebody who wants it. That's all.
Is that still in talks, or is it been decided to need signatures, lobbyists? I don't live far from there. I actually live in the town of Salina, so
Okay, well, it's good. So
I know exactly what you're talking about. So I'm seeing if
it's going to be,
efforts there.
well, okay. When I left the board, we were still, pretty much was the final design. Storage place for, safe storage place for batteries. Otherwise, so that kind of thing was going to be there. There could have been, maybe will be a place where used clothing could be dropped off in Salvation could come together. So there could be like a place for special drives.
Hey, how about another hand for Dr. Gilligan?
We have now come to the final portion of our program, exploring what we can do to make a difference. One of the saddest observations is when somebody does nothing because all they think they can do is little. Let's remember Lisa's goal to get us thinking from I don't matter to every action matters. Here are 31 days of ideas on how you can make a difference. Feel free to take a screenshot. Do you or someone you know take medication? You can't put number 5 bottles in the recycle bin, but you can remove the labels, keep the lid on them, and stow them away in a bag. Who knows, perhaps the Zonta Club of Brewerton will be doing a drive soon because this organization, Matthew 25 Ministries out of Ohio, repurposes them in a positive way. Another thing you can do is attend one of Zonta's monthly think tanks. The next one is May 10th. It is for the early risers at 6 a.m. They vary. The times will change each month. Here's something you can do right now. Scan this QR code, that's the square thing in the middle, with your phone and click the yellow link that pops up. When you click the link, you will see a plus sign in a yellow circle at the bottom. Please tap the plus sign and type in one thing that you do or will do to help the earth. By working together, we can make a more just climate for women and girls.
By the way, while you're doing that, I'd like to say you were here for Kathy Speed's very first meeting, and I think she did great. Yes, thank you for coming, and thank you for our online people, which I may be hanging up soon. I will send you that link. The library is funny. They'd like us to be out the door by 10 of. I guess they think that we'll walk slow because they do lock the doors at 8 o'clock. And if you're here, you have to stay overnight and read all the books. So So we have a deal with them that we end on time. For those of you who are members, you're happy to know that we start on time mostly and end on time. Now we have one last thing to do, and let's bring up Anderson. Come on up. And Julie, would you get a hold of that bag? Because we have a door prize happening right now. You just open it up and show what's inside there. And you pull one name out. Did you know those big, bulky Tide things that you can get your laundry in? The big plastic? Well, these are no plastic. The dry. Yep. These are 60 loads of wash in a box. Yeah. Each one of them. And a recycle bag, and there might be something else in there. And it's going home with Alicia O'Mara. It's got to be a family. Is she here? Is that you? Ah, Julie, it's going to this lady in the teal. Thank you again for coming online. Thank you again for being here in person. Please purchase a bag. Lloyd, pick me 2 bags, please. And also, Katie's got Girl Scout cookies. If you need to grab and go some Girl Scout cookies, they are $6 a box. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.